What's going on, YouTube world? This is your guy, Sealz the Man, and I'm coming back at you with another nighttime edition episode. Thank you for being here. And as y'all know, and for those who don't know, on this channel I talk about understanding the mind of good men, decent men. And tonight what we're going to dive into is male body language. Body language is just as important as verbal language. The language of movement, gestures, energy is just as loud as someone yelling and screaming at you using their mouth. Both things need to be paid attention to. So tonight I'm going to talk about the different body language of men and what it may mean. What it may mean to him, what it may mean to you, what it may mean to your situation and your relationship. These are good things to know. And body language is one of my favorite things to talk about. So I'm going to bring up 6 different types of body language when it comes to men. And I'm going to dive into both sides of the coin when it comes to each of those. Positive and negative. All right, so let's get to the first one, and that is more touch than talk. Now, this gesture can mean different things when it comes to the amount and the authenticity of a man who's truly interested in you or a dude who just wants something from you. It depends. So the first thing I'm gonna talk about is a man that you're already with, a man that you love, a man that truly loves you and interested in you. When he touches more than he talks, he uses his hands more than his mouth. Simple gestures like him guiding your hips or gently tugging on your arm to pull you in a certain direction instead of telling you or giving a command on where to go. A simple hug or a head carry instead of him asking, "Are you okay?" or showing love. A man who prefers to touch more than he talks is, for one, is a man who is better at expressing himself through touch than talk. A lot of men are not about the talk. In fact, I come across a lot of men who are very reserved when it comes to expressing themselves and how they feel and what they're thinking. But when it comes to these men, especially with one who is with the one he loves, they will rather show you through touch. And you start to understand that the more you deal with this man, in whatever capacity that y'all are in, because everyone has their form or preferred form of communication. Now, let's go to the flip side of the coin with a man who prefers to touch more than talk. The flip side of the coin being a dude who just wants something from you. Now, a dude who just wants something from you, aka in lust, trying to get fast action, who truly doesn't care for you or looking to have anything serious with you, they might prefer to touch more than talk because they have nothing good to say. They have no real content to talk with you. So they would rather show their true intentions through their touch because that's all they want to do. They just want your body. And because they just want your body, they're trying to force their intentions on you with what they want to do to you, and that is touch you. Now, this is how you decipher between a man who truly wants you and cares for you and loves you, that between a man who just wants something from you or wants your goodies, as Sierra said. Because the body language will tell you. The body language will speak to you if you pay attention. So depending on the man, a man who prefers to touch more than he talks can be just his preferred communication with you, be out of love, through love. But you also have to be careful with dudes who are trying to touch you more than talk when you don't know them, when they don't care for you, and they just want something from you. There's a big difference. Now, the second body language when it comes to men that I want to point out in this video is eye contact. Let me tell you straight up, a man who wants you, who is interested in you, who wants to learn more about you, is going to give you a certain eye contact. They say the eyes are the windows to the soul, but eyes are also the gates to access. When someone wants access to you, they're going to lock in eye contact with you. They want more from you. They want to know you more. They want to bolster this conversation that y'all having, so they're going to keep straight with eye contact with you. That is a good way to lock in conversation and communication. When men lock eye contact with you, it can cause different reactions based on the man and in your relationship or friendship or whatever it is, because it can be a little intimidating, especially if you're not expecting this much eye contact from this man. But one flag when it comes to eye contact is that he's into you, he's trying to figure out something with you, and he's trying to lock in this communication that y'all are having. Now, when there is a lack of eye contact, this can mean many things, especially when it comes to men. When a man is not locking eye contact with a woman, it can mean he's not interested in you. It can mean he's trying to escape you. It can mean that there are other things on his mind, on his mental. It can mean he is not there. He's not present with you. Eye contact is like a lock. It is there to show intention, to show want, to show interest. And when there is a lack of eye contact, it is the total opposite. Eye contact when it comes to men is a body language that all of you should be aware of. Now, the next body language of men that you should be aware of is breathing. Now, this is especially for those who are in relationships and marriages with the love of their life. But as you know, this is a continual education when it comes to understanding men. Even if you've been with your man for decades and years, you will continue to learn because there is so much to learn about men. All right. So when it comes to breathing, especially in times of arguments, anger, frustration, because you can tell where he's at based on how he's breathing. Let's talk about some of those. Slow sighs. That is a clear flag of frustration. He is over this conversation with you. He is frustrated. He is upset. Whether it's his fault or your fault, there is some turbulence in y'all current conversation. Another one, the hiss. Now, usually men hiss when they have something they would really want to say, but they're holding back. Or maybe there's something that you just said that triggered something or sparked something in him, but he's deciding to hold it in because of the impact that it may have if he says it. Most times negative. Fast breathing. Now, this is usually the case when a man is overexhausted, panicking. His thoughts have taken over his physical. And this is especially for men who lack in expression, who are not that good in communication. So they hold these thoughts in, they hold these things in, but it is literally affecting their breathing. Now they're breathing fast. Even if it's under their breath, they're breathing fast. There is something in the water when it comes to a man who is breathing fast. And most likely it needs to be talked about. It needs to be explored. And for those who've been rocking with me for a long time, y'all know I talk about how men tend to keep things to themselves to not make their partner worry, to not make their woman worry. But sometimes keeping things in can affect your literal physical state. And this is why breathing is such an important body language when it comes to men to be aware of. The next type of body language that I need everyone to understand when it comes to men and to take note of is a man who tends to escape over staying. Now, what do I mean by that? You ever had a conversation with a man and when the conversation gets serious or there's something serious to talk about, he'll rather escape. He'll rather say something like, "Oh, I'm over this. I'm done. I'm out of here." Or, "You bugging, man. I'm out. Instead of actually talking through and finding a solution for this, he would rather run away. This is a body language to understand when it comes to men, because this can be a flag on how well this man can resolve conflict, but also how you can resolve conflict with him in being in tandem and being in a relationship with him. Because we can't just solve problems on our own. It takes two to tango. It's a two-way street. Therefore, we have to talk about important things, especially when those things are hard to talk about. But we have to do it together. It is difficult to do that when your man, your partner, is running away, is escaping every important conversation. It is important to take note of this in the beginning of your relationships and your friendships or whatever ship, because this can be a forecast into y'all future, because everything is not always going to be easy peasy. Sometimes the road is going to get rough and you're going to face some things together that y'all going to need to talk about. But when you have a partner, a man who is trying to escape every time, that is not a good thing. But there's another important point that I want to talk about when it comes to a man who tends to escape more than stay, is that it may be deeper than that. There may be some roots to this escaping, this constant escaping, because to me, that sounds like trauma. Trauma can make a man want to escape because of his past, the things he's been through, the experiences that he went through. Sometimes men go through things in their lives where they had to escape, whether it be the streets or the law or parental abuse. Usually when men tend to escape in their current situations with their woman, it is because it is rooted in the things that they had to escape in their past. Now that is something that needs to be tended to. That needs support. That needs therapy. That needs attention, because those things don't go away. That pain, that trauma does not just disappear. That will linger and continue to linger in your relationship with this man unless it is tended to. You cannot expect him to stop escaping these important conversations if he does not work on this. Another body language when it comes to men that I need everyone to understand is closeness and distance. Everyone has their preferred closeness and everyone has their preferred distance. But what's important to know about closeness and distance are the reasons to his closeness, the reasons to his distance. Closeness is more of a result of a man who wants to be around you, of a man who wants to be with you, of a man who's putting in effort to make things work, of a man who wants to have moments and experience with you. That usually involves closeness. Now it gets tricky when there is distance involved. A man who is constantly distant or constantly inconsistent, here sometimes and there sometimes, here today and gone tomorrow. Distance is more than just a metric, and sometimes a metric can't even describe the feeling of distance, because you can feel when your lover or the one you think you love or the one you think loves you is being distant because that attachment is not there. In fact, it feels like detachment. or it's inconsistent attachment. Either way, you feel it. You feel closeness, but you also feel distance. Let's dig even deeper into this, right? Because you could have a man or a partner that can sit right next to you in your living room, in your bedroom, in the car, and feel distant. That is all body language. Just because someone is next to you does not mean they are with you. We have to read the room, but also read our partners. And when a man is close or distant, it is going to show. And the last body language that I want everyone to understand about men and pay attention to are happy triggers. The things that triggers his happiness. Whether it's the food that you make, whether it's the jokes and the insider jokes that y'all have, whether it's the playful wrestling or jumping on each other's backs, whether it's the quiet bonding where y'all both are in the same room and reading a book together and still enjoying each other's company without saying anything. The body language that man exposes when he's triggered by happiness around you speaks volumes. And most times they're minuscule. Sometimes they're small things. They don't have to be grand things. What I want you to think about are the things that makes your man happy. Those triggers, those small triggers that creates this big happiness. Because sometimes we can overlook the simple things in our lives, or take advantage of them, or not pay attention to them. But just think about it. Because when you discover or rediscover the happy triggers that he has, you can compound on that. You can get creative with it. You can build on those things to create even more happiness. The thing that you don't want to do is abuse those happy triggers, misuse those happy triggers, try to use those happy triggers for your personal gain, because that will create negative body language, which is a result of a bad thing. It is always good to read your man in that way when it comes to his happy triggers, because you learn more about your man even more. Remember that continual education of your man that I talked about earlier in this video, how it never ends? Well, things like this, happy triggers, and how his body language is after that happiness is triggered, says a whole lot. I hope y'all enjoyed my 6 popular body languages of men, an effort to understand not only just your man better, but every man better, especially those in your life. All right? Thank you for being here with you guys, Sealz the Man, and I will see you on my next video. Peace and blessings. Goodbye.